Welcome to today's conversation of Canadian business owner and business villages. Today we have a very special conversation and discussion, and the focus is Kingston, Ontario, and we have guests with us, Shelley from Kingston Economic Development, and also Norman from Kingston Economic Development and Invest Kingston, and Marco, one of the entrepreneurs who have established business in Kingston, Ontario. Welcome everyone to today's conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Let's start with a quick introduction of our guest, and we can start with Shelley, please.
So pleasure. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Shelley Hirstwood. I'm the Director of Business Development with Kingston Economic Development Corporation.
That is great to have you, Shelley. Thank you for being with us. Norman?
Thank you, Rasheed. My name is Norman Musengimana, and I work with the Kingston Economic Development Corporation as Business Development Manager for Startups and Entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Norman. Marco?
Yeah, my name is Marco, and I'm the founder and owner of MB Prototyping Limited, a prototyping and product development firm here in Kingston.
That's great. Thanks for joining us. Shelley, if you could please give us an overview of Kingston, Ontario, in terms of the opportunities, global opportunities, and also national opportunities for businesses and entrepreneurs.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Yeah, so for those who aren't familiar with Kingston, so Kingston, we're centrally located between Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, on the US border, with easy access to the border, population around 200,000 people, just giving you a context of who we are, where we are, and located on beautiful Lake Ontario on the edge of the Thousand Islands, internationally known. So my role is to support companies coming into Kingston from around the world, and it's everything from startups all the way to large multinational corporations, all of which are equally important and all of which are always a lot of fun to work with. So from Kingston, you know, we're always excited to welcome companies, and I think, you know, if I was to summarize, like this, a lot of communities are going to say a lot of the same thing, you know, our location, our access to markets. But I'd really, if I was to hone in on, you know, why Kingston and what do we really offer, I'd say it's the team, it's the ecosystem. Kingston truly has this integrated ecosystem with partners, whether it's academic partners, institutions, research labs, capabilities, and everyone it's a big enough city to have everything, but a small enough city that we're all easily connected. So you need the mayor, I can text him. You need a planner, I can text that person. Got it. And I think, you know, and we all truly do work cohesively, because for us, it's about making sure the business has what they need. It's not about recognition for, oh, was it Queen's University? Was it Kingston Economic Development? Was it St. Lawrence College? No, it's all of us working together, because it's about how do we best support the company with the stage they're at now, and how do we get them to where they need to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I'm hearing as you're speaking about the advantages and that you can get a strong sense of community when you're in Kingston.
Absolutely.
Instead of the other way around, to go through so many layers to figure out your way around, there's a strong sense of connections and community, and that's, I think, a very essential value that businesses need in today's time and tomorrow's time, the up and coming changes and opportunities in the business world, no matter what industry they are in. We have Marco's story is one of the success stories and the journeys in Kingston. Let's hear from you, Marco. Tell us how did it start and how is it going?
Yeah, quite good so far. I mean, I came here to Kingston 1.5 years ago with the very valuable support from Shelley, Norman, and her colleagues, and yeah, I think Shelley summed it up pretty well, what's happening and how things are going here in Kingston. The support from, especially from the Economic Development Corporation here in Kingston, who kind of connects everything, is very, very valuable. They connected me and my business with with other entrepreneurs in the region, with the Queen's Universities and St. Lawrence College and all kinds of other stakeholders in the region. So you really feel that everybody is striving to build up and foster that ecosystem here. And you don't feel like you are just one of a million other firms, even though you are not, or in my situation, I'm not a business enterprise that brings like $1 billion investment into the region. What, by the way, Shelley and Norman did with other companies as well. But I don't feel like they treat businesses like me like a second-class business, you know. What I also love about Kingston and the region overall, I mean, I'm not only a business person, but I'm also a person in general with a private life and everything. And Shelley summed it up or introduced that a little bit. We have that location in the middle of Montreal, Ottawa, and Ontario, and we are pretty good connected to everything. And Kingston is, I always say, like, Kingston has all the larger city amenities without the downsides of a larger city, which is quite nice for living here in general. It's not that crowded. There's space. There's so much beautiful nature around us, and and all these kind of factors combined and many more made it a very, very good place for me and my business to settle, and I'm very happy about that. And
that's awesome. Just tell us briefly about what does your business offer, and then we will come back into more detail on taking your insight on about your industry.
Sure. What my business does is I'm prototyping and designing all sorts of custom shaped mechanical solutions for the industry. So the focus is a little bit on prototyping things made of silicone materials, custom shaped silicone parts, and especially silicone molds for the food and the engineering industry. So a lot of customers come from like the organic food industry that produce plant-based seafood and dairy, plant-based dairy alternatives and things like that. And what my business does is supporting them from their idea and from, like, they come to us with a problem and trying to solve it somehow. And at the end, the outcome is like always that they get some tools or molds for their internal production processes from us, and we help them on the entire process until we get that done.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Norman, what would you like to add in terms of startups and entrepreneurs who are choosing Kingston as the business destination for them?
So one of the things that I love about working in this ecosystem is the fact that you have access to talent because of Queen's University and the college, St. Lawrence College, and the Canada Royal Military College. And so what that gives anyone who's starting is you don't have to start by hiring expensive talent on full-time basis. You can start by identifying the right people, highly educated, who are in an ecosystem that is nimble, and you have access to all the tools that you want, and then start them on a part-time basis. So from a startup perspective, we like to advise people there are two main costs when you're starting a business. One of them is categorized as variable cost. The other one is categorized as fixed cost. And so if you look at, for example, as a very early stage company, if you're not selling or producing, we always say minimize the fixed costs. Because if you kind of enter into agreements, contracts, those are obligations you must meet on periodic basis. But if you maximize the variable cost component, which is where now this part-time talent can come in, then you can only hire this talent only when you need their expertise, which makes the startup life of an entrepreneur or a company kind of become a little bit manageable and more sustainable. And so I think that's one strength of Kingston that most people don't talk about. And then the other strength that I really like to talk about is the capability to have intellectual property. We have a lot of intellectual property that is ready for commercialization. Most people, whenever they learn about it, they go like, oh, intellectual property developed and ready for commercialization in Kingston. And then once you give them details, then they go like, wow, I never imagined or thought Kingston will have a lot of IP as we do. And all that's from the academic institutions and more than 40 research centers that we have in this small ecosystem.
It's important because having a strong ecosystem to support, especially early stage businesses, and of course, established and growing businesses, is because the landscape of business and economy is shifting all the time, and it's the only thing that we know for sure is change.
Yes. Yeah, that we say the only constant in today's business environment is change.
Yes.
So you have to be ready.
Yes, that's true. So Shelley, in terms of global companies, international investment of businesses who are considering or have already chosen Kingston, what sectors usually offers the best opportunities for global companies to choose Kingston, and what can you add into that?
Absolutely. So we're very focused on two priority sectors, and these sectors were defined and identified because of our specific expertise in each one of them. So health and life sciences is certainly one. And when we kind of dive into what does that look like for Kingston, where our sweet spot is and where our expertise is certainly genomics. We have one of the 3 genomics machines in Canada. We have some of the top experts in genomics, personalized medicine, regenerative medicine, with the cancer or the clinical health center or clinical cancer center of Canada being in Kingston, in combination with the Center for Health Innovation. There's a lot of centers. They put the word center in everything. Just saying. With all of that combined, we have a lot of expertise, certainly in oncology, which relates very much to what's happening in that regenerative medicine space. And that's also backed with companies like Octane and Lonza. So some multinational companies that are doing some global game-changing things when it comes to regenerative medicine, solving cancer, tissue production, really some incredible stuff that is very uniquely centered on our expertise in Kingston. And then from the sustainable manufacturing side, you know, again, we really honed in on what makes us unique in Canada, what makes us unique on a national stage. So one of our sweet spots is certainly our expertise in metallurgy and chemistry. And that's backed by decades and decades of industrial expertise, whether it's Invista, DuPont, Novelis. But certainly you can't have continued expertise without the backing of solid academia. So between that partnered with Queen's University, St. Lawrence College, we find that's really just created this epicenter of talent. And where does metallurgy and chemistry fit in? It fits in a lot more places than you'd think. But certainly the EV space has been front and center, especially with battery expertise. And then you start pulling in research facilities like Green Center Canada and Kingston Process Metallurgy, and the ability for Kingston to actually take a concept from bench scale to pilot with those 2 facilities, and then we can support them landing and growing and continuing in Kingston. There's some great examples of that. So EV battery space, certainly one, but then chemistry also fits into food processing. It fits into innovation, and then that certainly complements Marco's capabilities to help prototype and make all the magic happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. In terms of the global opportunities that are as we mentioned, the only constant is change, but in terms of global opportunities that we see in the pipeline and the outlook, maybe in the next while, maybe 1 or 2 years from now, it's probably hard to say 5 years from now. What aligns well? Health sciences definitely stands out, as you mentioned. What do you see, and what is your insight in terms of global opportunities that Kingston sees coming up, and then could boost those momentums for companies?
Yeah, and I think the opportunities are certainly there. I think our expertise aligns well with not just our own priorities, but certainly provincial and federal priorities of what is the government trying to bring to Canada. We find from a global perspective, a lot of companies are really interested in the fact of our free trade agreements. We're the only G7 country that has free trade agreements with all G7 countries. And then our immigration policies are next to none, especially with access to the Global Skills Program, which has expedited talent access within 2 weeks. So from that global perspective, those are some of the sweet spots that we see from those particular sectors. If I was to look into my crystal ball, it hasn't been working very well. But if I was looking in my crystal ball, the life sciences piece is growing. I mean, as we come out of the pandemic, we all know how important it is, and how important having localized, nationalized supplies has become critical. And I'd say the same thing for sustainable manufacturing. And it's fascinating to see how things have shifted. 15 years ago, everything was going offshore. And we'd laugh about the idea of chasing smokestacks because that was long gone. But now, as everything's coming back with nearshoring, friendshoring, we're seeing a lot of those companies, especially in those supply chains, coming in. And then, of course, that's leveraged with the amount of investments. I think it's $46 billion of investment within the EV space into Canada in the last 5 years. That's significant. And then with that brings all that supply chain, friendshoring, nearshoring, and great stuff.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Marco, in terms of future opportunities and current landscape in the sustainability, because what you do touches a lot with sustainability of product prototyping and development. What is your take on it, and what do you see in the pipeline of opportunities at a local and also global level, and how your services aligns with those for those who are looking for sustainability as an edge in their business?
That's actually an excellent question. My focus, or the focus of my company, is less into the industries Shelley just described. So our customers come more of out of the industries like I previously mentioned. It's more like sustainable farming and novel farming technologies we are dealing with. And there is certainly a lot in the pipeline. When the dairy industry has a lot of negative impact on climate and the environment, as well as on land use. A lot of things are happening there. There are startups emerging everywhere who want to bring plant-based alternatives on the market, and with novel and emerging manufacturing technologies, on the manufacturing side, a lot of new opportunities come up for everybody in this field. The next thing is vertical farming. This is a big topic. We're working with a local company on a project in that field. Someone wants to bring organic farming into an old warehouse with renewable energy, and a lot of research and development around that. So there's a lot happening in that market. Also a lot of uncertainty, because a lot is dependent on government policies, but certainly things are moving forward a lot quicker than people notice, and we're going to be part of that.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And it's not just business hype. It's what we all depend on and our future generations to make this place that we live in, wherever it is, as in planet Earth, more sustainable for ourselves and our future generations. So it is not just a temporary business slogan. It touches our lives. We can see from all the changes, not only in economy but in the climate and all these other things. So it's reminding us time and time again that this is a serious business to keep things sustainable.
Yeah, part of sustainability is also certainty. Like, I don't know, you had in Toronto, in Toronto and Montreal, actually, there has been major flooding events in the past.
Yes.
And once these events happen in area where there's a lot of farming taking place, you perhaps lose a lot of crops. And part of sustainability is also mitigating these kind of risks through technologies like that. So that's also part of the big picture. Food security, or also like economic security. When you have more resilient businesses and business ecosystems, they are also more resilient to quick changes, to disasters. And that's also part of sustainability.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Norman, in terms of entrepreneurs who are starting or growing their startups, what do you see now and going forward in the near future? What are some opportunities, and what are some words of insights and wisdom you can share based on your experience, especially when they are establishing in areas, in industries that are, for the lack of a better word, fluid? If things are changing so rapidly that you can't, even sometimes the line between industries are blurring, in terms of which industry does take responsibility for one sector or the other. Sometimes it's blurring, and then it creates also opportunity because you remove silos. It makes it easier for more industries to cooperate and co-create next level opportunities. But it's also challenging. So what do you see and what do you say in that regard?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, but also a very kind of difficult question to answer. But from what we are seeing today, post-pandemic, we have seen a lot of people venture into side hustles, for example, because people realize that even having a full-time job is not guaranteed anymore. Mm-hmm. And so some of these side hustles are becoming like maybe medium-sized and to large type of organizations. So we are seeing a lot of clients who started like 3 years ago from their own home, who are looking now either to get a physical office or are looking to acquire property and have a physical location, and so on and so forth. So that's one trend that has been very common in 2024. Now, we all know that we are kind of sitting on the cusp of an AI or an artificial intelligence boom. And that means a lot of disruption when it comes to how we do things today, either as individuals or as businesses. And so that is going to create a lot of disruption, but also a lot of opportunities. And so if I was starting a business today, I'd be thinking about how can AI help me to get where I want to go fast? Two, how is AI going to affect my industry? And how should I strategize and build or optimize my business so that as that change starts happening, I'm also equally kind of changing some of my business strategies. So I feel like we are you remember in 2000 when people are talking about the internet boom. I hear a lot of experts, a lot of industry leaders, a lot of business people talk about artificial intelligence as kind of being the new maybe the fourth industrial kind of revolution type of scenario. So that's kind of how I see it, which means that if you're starting a business today, there is a lot of opportunities, but there is also equal amount of uncertainties, because it's very difficult to really say what will be happening, either from a healthcare space or even a food science space in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years. I've seen, for example, companies that are using artificial intelligence technologies to come up with new type of minerals or metals. I've seen companies that are using artificial intelligence to come up with, for example, novel way to detect diseases. So it's a lot of opportunities, but also equal uncertainties.
That's true. That's well said. Shelley, in your interaction and observations with the way global companies set up their branches in Kingston, or they are in conversations to consider, what would you like to add to those who are in that process, based on the success stories of the ones you already have? That what is working and what to do next to make the move.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of our team and the beauty of the whole ecosystem is that it's different for every company.
Yes.
The journey is different for every company, and their needs are very different. And I think for us, and what we really care about, is that we truly care about each business, as Marco said, like everyone's equally important to us. So whether it's a startup to, multinational, we genuinely want these businesses to land, but also it's not just about landing them. It's about growing them into the community and into the ecosystem. It's about keeping them here and helping them thrive and grow and continue. So I'd say, it's about the team. We're agile. We understand every need of the businesses every business is going to be different. I've never seen the path the same twice. What their needs are, whether it's, looking for a very specialized talent, whether it's looking for land, whether it's looking for power, everything is going to be so different, whether it's looking for customers, whether it's integration. I think the ability of our team to really support that's the differentiator.
That's so amazing and well said. Marco, so as we are wrapping up, what is your message for fellow entrepreneurs in industries that could be related or not related to Seven, also for businesses who could benefit from the expertise and advice that your company offers?
In terms of Kingston in general?
No, in terms of your own as an entrepreneur to entrepreneur message in general.
Okay, consider Kingston. It's a lot of people do not really notice Kingston because it's on the map. It's that small dot in between these three major cities. Consider Kingston. Kingston has everything except an airport.
It's coming. It's coming back.
No, really, Kingston has everything all the other big metropolitan areas have to offer. Without the downsides, it's comparably affordable here. Living here is great. The support is unprecedented. Yeah, you should really consider Kingston. It's a great place to do business, and it's a great place to live as well.
Thank you, Marco. And Norman, as we are wrapping up, what is your message in general? And I know once we had a conversation when we met in person, I think it was in Collision earlier this year, in terms of, I think you had an interesting calculation of how many hours you save in a year by living in Kingston.
I can't believe
can you tell me that story?
Yeah. Rasheed. Yeah, so I came to Canada towards the end of 2017, and as many newcomers come, I chose the pathway of international student. And at the time, I was living London, UK, and before London, UK, I had just lived in Brussels. And when I got in Kingston, if I'm being honest, I had kind of gotten used to the kind of fast life, big city type of lifestyle. And I had kind of forgotten that there is another way you can live in this world. And so I was into that go, 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 go mood. And when I got in Kingston the first week, I was like, am I on vacation or am I here to study? Like, life really reduced like the pace at which I was going. And then all of a sudden, I rediscovered that there are actually different ways you can live in this world. You can choose to keep chasing whatever is passing by because of either how expensive or how congested or how busy life can be in cities. Or you can actually choose to go and set up and build in an environment where you kind of have control of what's happening around you. So when I got in Kingston, after like 1 year, I did numbers. I was like, okay. So because I was being told that with my experience, with my world views, that Kingston is not a very good place for me to live and work. And so I went to Montreal, I went to Toronto, I went to Fredericton, New Brunswick, to just try to compare for like a week and compare the lifestyle and everything. And then when I was in Toronto and Montreal, I did the math on time that I can save if I lived in Kingston, also based on other things that I wanted to do in my life. And so I quickly realized that I can save between 500 to 700 hours every year. Then I was like, if I have 500 more hours in a year, rather than being either commuting and so on and so forth, what will I do with that in my life? And that's where my startup kind of, now I was like, okay, I need to use it to create something that I really am passionate about. And so I'm not someone who likes to preach something that I cannot do myself. And I was chatting with some of my friends, and I'm like, I always tell entrepreneurs to do this, and I see how it's working. I'm gonna try it as well. And so I also created a side hustle during that time. So whenever I'm talking about Kingston, I tell people like, you get to live, if I need the noise and the fast pace of life that people experience or enjoy in Toronto and Montreal, I will go there for a weekend or for a week, and then come back to Kingston, where now I can sit down, put my feet on the ground, and really do that which I want to do. So my commute is a maximum of 15 minutes. That's like on a very slow day. And so I can be anywhere I want in Kingston in less than 20 minutes. And so even having that peace of mind as you do your full-time work, as you do your side hustles, your contracts, is really, it's what creates value for me, like for being in this ecosystem.
That's amazing. So anyone who is looking into future possibilities, just think about what can you do with an extra 500 hours a year.
That's the best way to say it, and that's a good question to ask as individuals.
It's a good question to keep us thinking, right? So one final message, Shelley, anything you would like to add at the end as we are concluding today's conversation?
Well, I guess if I was to stick with this lifestyle piece and my extra 500 hours, after work today, I'm going to jump in my kayak.
Awesome. Anything you want to say, Marco, before we conclude?
Yeah, I think there was a nice anecdote from Shelley. I mean, the what Norman just said is very, very valuable. You can do a lot of stuff with your additional time, and it's not like that you only need to, that it's only taking you like 12 minutes to commute everywhere in the city, to every box store, every office, and everything. You only have like 12 to 20 minutes to the lakes, to Frontenac Park, or 25 minutes to the Thousand Islands Park. Grab your canoe, your kayak, 10 to 30 minutes max, and you're everywhere you want to go. You can explore so much stuff. It's never getting boring here.
Awesome. So as I hear everyone, choosing Kingston is not just a business decision, it's a lifestyle decision, and it's a wholesome decision that involves every area of like being a business person, as you said, Marco, or being a person as an individual life with a private life as well. So it matters because we, at the end of the day, we live one life. We can have different things, side hassles that Marco Norman mentioned. We can be a multinational company, but we live one life as every individual, every team member. We have one life, so might as well make the best out of it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being with us, and I look forward to stopping by on my way to Ottawa because I visit my parents in Ottawa. So to Kingston, I usually do that. So and enjoy the beautiful city of Kingston.
Yeah, we hope you're not going to be a stranger in this town anymore.
Thank you, everyone. And until next time, have a nice rest of your day.